The Chronicles of Illyria. The War of the Twin Suns. In the ancient world, nestled between vast mountain ranges and endless seas, lay the kingdom of Illyria. Illyria was a land of breathtaking beauty, abundant resources, and rich culture, ruled by the wisdom of Queen Seraphine, known as the Golden Monarch. Her rule marked an era of peace and prosperity as she fostered unity among her people and promoted trade, agriculture, and learning. Her advisors were chosen not by birthright, but by skill and merit, and the council halls buzzed with the ideas and innovations that propelled Illyria forward. Yet, Illyria's wealth and influence did not go unnoticed. Beyond the mountains to the east lay the rival empire of Dracana, ruled by Emperor Caden, also known as the Iron Hand. Dracana was a land forged by war, a harsh realm where power was absolute and loyalty was demanded, not earned. Caden was as ambitious as he was ruthless, and he had long envied the thriving fields and glittering cities of Illyria. But for years he refrained from open conflict, knowing that Illyria's defenses were formidable and that its people were deeply loyal to their queen. However, as the years passed, a powerful rumor began to spread. Illyria held within its mountains a sacred gem, the Heart of Ashen, said to be a divine relic, granting prosperity and invincibility to its possessor. The tale of this ancient gem had reached the ears of Emperor Caden, who became consumed by the thought of wielding such power. He believed that if he claimed the Heart of Ashen, he could conquer not only Illyria, but all the lands beyond, creating an empire without equal. His thirst for power ignited a brutal campaign, a war that would later be known as the War of the Twin Suns. Queen Seraphine received word of Dracana's coming assault through her network of spies. She had long hoped to avoid bloodshed, but she knew the peace of Illyria could not survive unchecked aggression. Her advisors urged her to strengthen Illyria's defenses, to rally every able-bodied warrior, and to prepare for a siege. But the queen, a master strategist, had a different plan. She knew that Emperor Caden would expect a show of brute force, and she intended to surprise him. Seraphine called upon Illyria's finest generals and devised a daring strategy. Rather than fortify Illyria alone, she would send her forces into the treacherous mountains, where Illyria's warriors could make use of the rugged terrain to mount a resistance against Dracana's larger, less mobile forces. The elite force, known as the Silver Guard, consisted of skilled archers, agile climbers, and expert scouts, all trained to navigate the land as well as the beasts who inhabited the mountains. They were joined by a small battalion of Illyrian mystics, adept at using ancient arts to obscure paths, confuse the enemy, and control the elements. As Caden's vast armies poured over the mountains, the Silver Guard sprang into action, employing guerrilla tactics to harry the advancing soldiers, setting traps, and using the natural landscape to their advantage. Dracana's forces, though powerful, were unused to the mountainous terrain and found themselves ambushed at every turn. By day, they faced relentless attacks. By night, they were plagued by strange sounds, unsettling visions, and whispers that seemed to come from the rocks themselves, an illusion cast by Illyria's mystics. Yet, Emperor Caden was undeterred. He pushed his forces harder, promising rewards to those who pressed forward and harsh penalties to those who faltered. Weeks passed, then months, and the war ground on in a brutal deadlock. For every advance Dracana made, the Silver Guard was there to drive them back. Supplies ran thin, morale wavered, but Queen Seraphine remained resolute. She visited her people, rallying their spirits, sharing in their sacrifices, and showing them that their cause was just and their queen unwavering. But then, in a fateful twist, a traitor within Illyria's ranks revealed a hidden path that led directly to the capital. Caden seized upon this opportunity, and under the cover of darkness, he led a strike force through the secret pass, emerging on the outskirts of Illyria's capital just as dawn broke. Caden believed victory was within his grasp. When word reached Queen Seraphine, she knew that this was the battle that would determine Illyria's fate. She gathered her remaining forces and personally led them to face Caden. She wore armor gilded with the symbol of Illyria's sacred sun and carried the ancient sword of her ancestors. Standing atop a hill overlooking the battlefield, she gave a speech that became legend, calling on her people to defend their homeland, not only with strength, but with the wisdom and unity that had long set Illyria apart. As the years passed, Illyria flourished, becoming a beacon of hope and wisdom across distant lands. Its people honored the memory of Queen Seraphine and the Silver Guard with annual celebrations, where young and old alike told the tales of their bravery and resilience. Songs were sung and stories passed down, recounting the courage of the Illyrians who had stood together against overwhelming odds. Children in Illyria learned not only the art of war, but the value of peace. And they were taught that true strength came from unity, compassion, and shared purpose. The memory of the War of the Twin Suns reminded each generation that the strength of Illyria lay not in its riches or armies, but in the character of its people. Queen Seraphine's teachings shaped Illyria's government, and her spirit lived on in the just leaders who followed in her footsteps. They remembered her commitment to fairness and the people's welfare, holding themselves to the high standards she had set. Illyria's story spread to neighboring realms, inspiring them to seek harmony and justice. Travelers came from afar, eager to witness the kingdom's prosperity and learn from its laws and customs. In time, Illyria became more than just a kingdom. It was a symbol of enduring peace and the triumph of wisdom over ambition. And as the sun set each year on the anniversary of the war, Illyrians gathered to light torches along the mountain paths, remembering those who had fought to protect the heart of Ashen, a treasure not of jewels or power, but of the unconquerable spirit within them all. The ensuing battle was fierce, with both sides clashing in a storm of steel and shouts. The earth shook as Dracanian war elephants charged into Illyria's front lines, but the Illyrians held fast, using their knowledge of the land to outmaneuver their enemies. Queen Seraphine fought at the front, her blade flashing like fire as she defended her people, inspiring them with her courage. Her Silver Guard, battered and weary, rejoined the fight, and with their expertise, they slowly began to turn the tide. As the sun set, Emperor Caden confronted Seraphine on the battlefield. They exchanged words, Caden's arrogance clashing with Seraphine's calm resolve. Their duel was fierce, a battle between two leaders who embodied the spirit of their kingdoms. In the end, Seraphine struck a decisive blow, felling the Iron Hand and shattering Dracana's resolve. The Dracanian forces, leaderless and demoralized, retreated from Illyria. The battle was won, but at great cost. Illyria's fields were scorched, its walls battered, and its people weary from the long months of conflict. But they had triumphed, and their spirits were unbroken. In the aftermath of the war, Seraphine did something unexpected. She extended a hand of peace to the survivors of Dracana, offering them sanctuary in Illyria if they would pledge to abandon Caden's path of conquest. Many accepted, and Illyria became a place where both Dracanian and Illyrian lived together, united by the war they had survived and the peace they had earned. As the years passed, the War of the Twin Suns became a legend, a tale of resilience, sacrifice, and unity. The story of Queen Seraphine and her Silver Guard was passed down through the generations, a reminder that true strength lay not in conquest, but in wisdom, compassion, and the courage to protect one's people. Seraphine's rule continued, and she led Illyria into a new golden age. The heart of Ashen was never found, but the people of Illyria believed it had been within them all along, a source of resilience and unity that no enemy could ever destroy. Illyria thrived, not through riches or conquest, but through the unbreakable spirit of its people, who knew that the greatest victories were those that preserved peace and upheld justice.